Welcome back to William Steele True Crime. We have a disaster still unfolding. True crime, international disaster on the brink of World War III, perhaps.
Yes.
In the Middle East. Ignacio is back with us. Ignacio Esteban, retired ATF. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bill, man, it's very, very sad situation that unfolded a few last week. And we've all been looking at the videos and give people a little bit of context, what's going on. I put it on my YouTube channel, and you can check it out. Small videos, but clearly, Hamas has to be destroyed. Hamas has to be destroyed once and for all. They've been around for years. They've been a problem. They've been even victimizing the Palestinian people for their own cause. So I know right now the shelling is controversial around the world. They see a lot of people who are innocent. They're saying they're dying. The best solution is humanitarian aid, with Biden coming in there yesterday, meeting with Bibi Netanyahu, right? The prime minister of Israel has been there for years. A conservative, a hardliner, trying to take care of these terrorists once and for all. Biden, which I think is kind of a moderate, but he's always been a friend and ally of Israel, which is good. Open the corridor near South Gaza with Egypt. Get the aid in there for the people who do not support Hamas. Last thing we want to do is kill innocent people. But once they're out and cornered, they can't leave anywhere. That's when you unleash, because they're trapped like rats, right? And they have underground tunnels. They can only stay in those underground tunnels so long, right? They're going to be annihilated. They're going to be absolutely, and rightfully so. The atrocities, you haven't seen the videos, they committed. There's one case I talk about. It was this grandmother who was in her house in the kibbutz area, right? And these monsters come in, right? They videotape everything. They had her phone. They execute her, set the place on fire. And while they're doing so, they send it on her Facebook account to her family members so they all can watch what happened to her. What kind of monsters do that?
I found, and I sent you that clip yesterday. It was like over an hour of actual cell phone footage from them. None of it. It's on the YouTube Israeli Defense Forces channel. Completely graphic, unedited. You see these gigantic, what are they using? AK-47?
AK-47s, yeah.
Tearing civilians up in the streets, dragging them out of cars. Then they took some of the bodies and threw them into the SUV and took even the bodies back to Palestine.
And where do you think they're getting the AK-47s from, Bill?
I probably us in the end. Iran. Where?
Iran.
Oh, Iran, yeah.
The Iranians are backing. This is why the potential for World War III is looming here. But I think now, but you don't know. Some of the extremists, Hezbollah, of course, is backed by Iran, and they're itching to go into that way. But that could end up costing Lebanon territory. It could hurt them also. They need to control the terrorists. Governments have to control the terrorists. They can't just look the other way and say, oh, we can't control them. No, you have to. Now, I understand the situation here with these people here in Palestinians in Gaza. It's not really a nation. It's a city there, an area, right? And they're having a tough time. They're mostly women and children, and they're being used as human shields, right? They're being used that way. So get them out. They're evacuating. And once they're all out, they get their humanitarian aid, things they need. Then you have to continue to unleash. It's going to take Israel. It's going to be a difficult battle, building to building, going in those tunnels. It may take weeks, months, who knows how much longer. I mean, look at the war still going on in Russia and Ukraine, going on almost 2 years. Could it be a 2-year war? Possible.
You have these creepy politicians who literally support this. You have misguided college students that don't have all the facts out in the streets supporting Hamas and what happened, and it's a resistance movement.
It is a terrorist group.
This movement slaughters kids and cuts their heads off. Are you out here rocking?
The last person I ever thought, Trudeau, a Canadian socialist, he was emotional. He was calling them a terrorist organizations, and Canadians will not. And that's coming out from a socialist. Will not support a terrorist organization like Hamas. So good for Trudeau for doing the right thing. Some of them have been doing it, but some on the left have been quiet because they're afraid. They don't know what to say, what to do. When you do the right thing every time, that's the way you do. But when you do it for your own personal motives or for whatever reasons, that's when it backfires on you. Right. So that's good for Trudeau.
Corruption and all that. It's incredible. They have the Jihad Squad,
Oh man.
And they got named that for whatever reasons. I don't even know the whole history. You're the political guy.
Yeah.
But I put some of their pictures up in the last show, and you have ORC, Ocasio,
AOC, yeah, she's in there. Yeah.
Oh my, these people are
The
horrendous. The things
congresswoman
they
from
say that are
Somalia.
contrary to United States interests in supporting terrorism. Now, to
Yeah.
me, you're the federal law enforcement guy retired. Doesn't that, if you give any aid and comfort to the enemy or a terrorist group, and Hamas is labeled by us as a terrorist group.
It is a terrorist group, yeah.
So can't every one of those college students and professors be prosecuted now?
Well, they got the freedom of speech that protects them a lot too. They have to take some overt acts in doing so. So she's claiming, her rights to express herself. But you know what? You look into that and you say, that's the kind of person who shouldn't belong in Congress. There's no place for some rhetoric like that. Let's just talk about what happened a few days ago with a hospital being bombed, the explosion, right? That went out to killing about 500 children, women and children and others in that hospital. Originally, they were trying to blame Israel for it, a missile strike. It wasn't an Israeli missile strike. It was themselves, either Hamas or the other jihad group they had there. They're trying to fire a surface-to-air missile. It backfired and went to the hospital, right? And kill all those people. And then they try and blame someone else and say, look what the Israelis did. They're targeting civilians. No. And then you're lying about it.
They have all kinds of CCTV footage from that exact incident. Yeah. They show where the missile was coming from generally, and it was not from Israel. No. It came from within. And it was heading towards Israel, but something happened to it, and it kind of self-destructed or fell apart or detonated high up. And then what remained of it, probably the active warhead part, came down
right back in.
Happened to land in the courtyard of a hospital. I mean,
yeah, and it caused massive fire, massive damage, killing a lot of innocent children. Yep. And this is the damage these people do. They don't care about their population.
And
they care about killing Israeli Jews.
And these people just don't even look at the evidence, and they just blame Israel. It's like, really? All the evidence shows where this missile came from. It was not Israel.
So. And this administration has said already since yesterday, when Biden went out to look at the evidence, being briefed by the CIA and other groups, it was not Israel.
Right.
It was not Israel. But Congresswoman Tlaib went out immediately. She's Palestinian. She's Palestinian American. She's from the Detroit area in Michigan, right? Dearborn, I think. And already on top of things, making this passionate, you know what? There's ways to do things civilized. You have to address the terrorist act. These are murderers, mass murderers, right? They went in there in a sovereign nation and butchered and killed over 1,400 civilians, mostly Israelis. There's some Americans in there and others from other countries. And they did it in the most graphic, brutal way. People dying. There are people cowering in a bomb shelter, pulling out grenades, throwing them in there. I don't know if you've seen those pictures. And the body parts everywhere, right? One guy survived, and he has a video camera when it all happened. If you haven't seen that video, it's amazing. He's in complete shock, and you see parts everywhere. These are animals.
Is that one of the ones I sent you? If you could send that to me. No, it's horrible to look at, but because having been in prison without the internet, you don't see any of this type of graphic stuff. And now all of a sudden I'm out, and it's everywhere. I can't even believe the scenes I saw yesterday.
That's hard.
Just going up on unarmed civilians, running from them, women and everything, and just machine gunning them down in the back.
Yeah.
And then
one guy was running. He took a bullet right in the head. Boom. And you see him drop right in the forward and just a pool of blood coming out. And that was it. His life ended just like that.
Yeah.
Just like that, Bill. These are, and they've been applying this for, I would say, almost a year and a half, 2 years. They're playing docile, right? That they were tired of fighting Israel. But in essence, Hamas has been planning this for a while. Iran's been behind it. And at least now the Biden administration froze that money that was going to return to them, that was going to be used for humanitarian reasons. No, they're going to be used to support Hezbollah, more Hamas, any terrorist group that wants to destroy Israel and hurt the Americans. Because you know why? Because we're friends with, we're allies with the Israelis. And that's why that's why I talk about the border. And we're transitioning to what's the failure of security and we've had in the last few days, massive security alerts in this country for possible attacks at schools and other venues. Be careful, because these groups are not happy that we're there and we're supporting Israel. Remember that. They're not happy.
I don't know why these certain groups, they just like to live in misery and control, the women and just everything. Just join the real civilized world and be prosperous. I mean,
they don't want to do that.
Enough to go around.
I think if Palestinians would have taken this two-state approach, they'll have been a lot better off. They're not going to eliminate Israel. Israel will have its own country, its own state. You have yours, the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and Gaza. And there'll be some, get your airport and get some other things you need. but just go and start your own. Don't try to eliminate Israel. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to accept this and move forward. That's. I mean, they've been around since 47, 48.
Yeah, I love the big lie that they say the Palestinians, want to say that they took their land or their country and this and that.
Yeah.
Historically, they've never had a country. They were wandering nomads all over the region. I mean, everywhere.
Take the deal that you have now, the two-state proposal that's out there, solution, and go with that and move on. You know what? I heard the Saudis were trying to make some deals with them. Hey, you know what? I was looking at some of the area of the Gaza Strip and other places. They have potential to build some beautiful resorts. I mean, the waters there are gorgeous. There's things they can do with the Saudis. Really, because the Saudis now have gone big time into tourism. If you haven't seen that, Muhammad, I don't like the guy. I don't like what he's done. But when we talk about Jamal Khashoggi, the journalist from the Washington Post, and how he got butchered and dismembered, these are the monsters, unfortunately, we deal with and get our oil with. But he's trying to broker something to get a deal there, and they offer them to do things. But you know what? Go forward, move on, get rid of the terrorists, and become businessmen, and make that area prosper.
They claim that Hamas was voted in and all that, and Israel is trying to obey the rules of engagement and all this, but it's a whole different story. It's like you're chasing criminals into a active shooter situation.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do? You're in law enforcement, right? So if I have hostages and I've killed somebody over there and a few people over there, and I have 10 hostages, you're coming in regardless. You're coming in.
Yeah, I don't think those 200. They have allegedly over 200 hostages in tunnels right now in Gaza. Some American, some from all over. I don't think they're going to survive.
A lot of the reporting from the citizens there are saying that in many cases they themselves are being told they'll be killed if they try to leave. Because they want the human shields. They want to be these cowards that hide behind women and children, and they know that we try to play by the rules, and so does Israel. But this is a whole new thing. It's just going to be a horrible situation. I think that accidental the terrorist rocket that hit the hospital in Israel might have slowed things down a bit. But also what slowed things down, the ground invasion, is because they're already fighting across the border with Hezbollah. And then Iran said, if this goes on much longer, we're going to get involved even before you invade, before you go into there to get these Hamas terrorists.
So and then you have the Golan Heights, and you have Syria. Of course, they want to regain that. So you have a lot of stuff going on, and the Syrian rebels, they want to get involved. Jordan, I don't know if you saw the mass protests out of Amman, Jordan, the capital of Jordan. They say we are Hamas. We Hamas, and we are with Hamas, and we now are Hamas. So that's not good. I mean, that is scary stuff out there. So, and then the Russians are antagonizing it all. They're stirring it up because we are with Israel. Well, of course, we're going to take the Palestinian side, and hopefully we get distracted with this conflict so we don't spend as much money in the Ukrainian conflict, because the only thing he wants is to expand his empire. And now he's stirring stuff up in Poland. He's trying to bring the Polish government around because they're having an issue now with their government. This is all bad stuff, Bill. All bad stuff.
It's bad stuff, and it's all spiraling out of control because they know they have a weak president who would rather sniff hair of women and eat ice cream and parade around oblivious. And he turns around, President Biden, if he's losing his mind, God bless him, but somebody needs to remove him from office the legal way. The Democrats need to step up and agree to remove this guy.
Yeah, we know
Harris
one thing.
Not much better. Kamala Harris.
I got that book. Better. Yeah, Joe Biden one and done, and his failed policies from the border, from Afghanistan, with inflation, everything is failed, and his mental faculties are not there. That's why I said he's one and done. RFK Jr. has sealed his fate because, like I said before, no incumbent president has won with a strong third-party candidate. Anderson did to Carter, Perot did to Bush. It's happening again. He's going to take votes from him, and then the battle will be between Trump and him, and see who will win the presidency. I think they didn't want him on the table for a debate. Well, now he's front and center now, and now this whole has changed. But Biden is done. I think he knows he's done. A former Kennedy, Kennedy is now going to take him out. So the son of Bobby Kennedy and the nephew of Jack Kennedy, the former president, who both were assassinated. Fascinating story, environmental attorney. So I think he will pull it off.
But I still don't think he'll win the election. It's going to be a Republican, and most likely Trump. But even if it's somebody else, could you imagine this absolute worldwide disaster they have to clean up because Biden was so weak and incompetent to let all this stuff spiral out of control the way it has?
Yeah, they definitely need to win. And I just can't believe the mass protests in our country. Have you seen this all over our country with Palestine? I didn't realize we had that many Palestinians. I guess we do, or sympathizers and Israelis everywhere. There are, and not just in our country, but in London, you're watching it, and all over Europe and in the Middle East. I mean, it's just unbelievable. People are cut up, and they just say, deal with Hamas, the terrorist group. You have to deal with them, and then you have to work with your situation and develop your own country. A two-state solution, which Trump proposed with Netanyahu. Go with that solution, a two-state solution. This is what you're going to get, and then go forward with your country and make something out of it, and go legit and get out of this.
I would like to do some research and see if there's any body of law that these people, especially the professors, can be charged under, giving aid and support to them that would trump that situation right now as it is would trump their free speech rights. Because I know you cannot incite violence. And you cannot give money to a terrorist group. And some of these groups that they're donating money to and encouraging the kids, the college students, university students, and their parents to donate to are linked to Hamas. They have these innocuous names, like, you know, for the medication and feeding of whatever the name of the groups are. I'm not even going to put them on the show because they're disgusting and they're routing the money to terrorists and to Hamas.
No, I don't want that.
So the professors who know this and some of the kids who are starting to learn this, they're from affluent families, a lot of Ivy League schools. Can't even their parents be now prosecuted? Can't the kids be prosecuted? Can't the professors who are encouraging this be prosecuted? What are they waiting for to start making prosecutions for supporting a terrorist group?
Yeah, it's disgraceful. It's horrible. That's why I was surprised that Trudeau spoke so strongly about it. He was a socialist himself. Because a lot of times you see the left, you know, that woke mentality. They want to support the underdog that's being abused, right? And they believe Palestinians are in this apartheid state, just like in South Africa, and the Israelis are the big bad boy, abusing, killing them, genociding, and they compare it to genocide here. Completely different situation here. But you know, Hamas has to, and I said before, has to, now their time more than ever. They have them cornered. They have to destroy them once and for all. They have to destroy them.
Absolutely.
That's it. Get the people out as much as you can, and then it's time to end Hamas. And then you start negotiations and start going forward with Abbas or whoever you have to deal with, you know, to go forward, two-state solution, and then seal them off. And then this is their country, this is yours, and move forward. Because obviously it's like a broken marriage, right? Dysfunctional marriage. They hate each other so much. What do? You need a solid divorce, separation. You go your way, we go our way, and that's it.
Right. And, you know, some of these fighters, not only did they film the footage of their horrendous crimes against humanity and war crimes, they literally had, some of them on their bodies, a brochure, I think it was 8 pages, telling them exactly what to do, how to torture people, how to kidnap them properly, how to cut heads off. I mean, this thing is on the internet, and it was recovered from their bodies when they invaded Israel. So this is not, you know, this is not normal. This is not, you know, somebody trying to join civilized countries, and nobody wants any part of them. So
no.
And the people who are protesting, go live over there. You want to live like that, go live there. I mean, that's the way I look at it. It's a crazy thing to say on the surface. When you look at the atrocities they're supporting, go live there. See how you like living under those conditions.
No, like that.
We're not a
That's why
country.
you're concerned about the Ayatollah in Iran. You're concerned about these other religious groups that run. And remember, the Iranian people had their democracy with the Shah, right? Somewhat. And they live differently than they do now. They want to go back. So this could open the door again to something where if Iran gets involved, the U.S. will get a little stronger, and maybe they can topple that regime in Iran. That would be nice.
Now, I do want to say this for the audience, you know, so we're reporting a lot from the news. Ignacio is considering a run for Congress. He's a very wise man.
Thank you.
Probably wise enough to stay out of politics ultimately. And so,
well, let me throw this out to you. I appreciate the throw out there. Can the Republican Party finally nominate a speaker? Have you seen the circus going on here now? Unbelievable. I've never seen, in the history of our country, we have never seen anything like this. There's one party, small minority. Now Jim Jordan, first was Steve Scalise, who had ties with David Duke and the KKK from Louisiana. He didn't even try to get a vote after he had a conference because he had no chance. So he just stepped down. Jim Jordan, a lot of people think he's pretty good, former prosecutor from Ohio, very aggressive, Mr. Accountability. But a lot of people thought he was trying to taint the election. He was trying to have Mike Pence not certified. There's controversial text messages out there. He can't get the votes now. So find someone, because 2 times already, he's going for a third one. He can't get close to the votes. Find someone that's a fiscal conservative, someone everybody can rally around and move forward, because it's embarrassing, and you're not going to win the House next year if you can't even elect a speaker, man.
Right. Yeah, everything's in disarray, and they have this incompetent president running the show, and just
yes, it's
like
hard
said,
to see all this stuff.
War III. Now, Ignacio has numerous books out. He's got like 75, 76 books. And so the book links for my books as well as his are in the description. And I'm going to try something different with today's shows because they're so timely. I'm going to put them out pretty much in their raw fashion right onto Facebook. So people will start watching them there, hearing about us and our show. And I will give a shout out. Please jump over and check out my YouTube channel, William Steele True Crime and Steele Spotlight Television, which is on a cable channel, but it's getting some traction. We're up to like 21 episodes. Ignacio, you're on many of them. And Ignacio's new YouTube channel, my fans, please go over and check out his channel, which is, what's the name of it again?
Yeah, Ignacio Esteban.
Ignacio Esteban. He kept it simple.
Yeah. That's how I started. And I just added up. So you keep my name, keep it simple. You see my Amazon author page. You check out all my books there. You can go Facebook also. You can find me there. You find me on LinkedIn. You can see everything I post on the same spot. So you can always check everything out. So a lot of different ways to find me and check out the stuff we've done.
Check out Ignacio's books. Please subscribe to his channel. Go there, give him a lot of likes, enjoy his material. And he's really trying to put his heart into telling stories with law enforcement, helpful to the public. And he's just a good guy. So I ask my fans to check his channel out. Leave comments. Leave comments here as well. And because it helps the algorithms, and ultimately, especially for a guy like me who did so much prison time, this is a way to earn an honest living. Yeah. And it's starting to come up now. And I'm so grateful. But all your comments and all your thumbs ups and your notification bells, hit that stuff, because YouTube really acknowledges that and then pushes you out further and your stories out further if you like this content, and actually in the end pays a little bit more. And right now it's only, pennies when it does happen, but it's still a work in progress, and we're polishing it up. As you know, Ignacio, after me being in 18 years in prison for nonviolent crime, I fought for 7 years to get into a computer class, grievances on top of grievances, never got into class. So I came out not knowing how to use one of these, not knowing anything about the internet. And so now here I am immersed in all these platforms, trying to learn how to market, trying to navigate technology. And so even though I have millions of fans because of my one show, I trying to perfect ways to bring them over here. A lot of them ask, Bill, what are you doing next? And so as far as what I'm doing next is I'm doing the writing, and it's a little slow going. Doing DJing, DJ Steele, that's coming up. Possibly today might be my first time I'm doing that.
Oh, I know that. All right.
Yep, I'm putting that out there. So I have 2 weddings set up for today that I'm actually going to be like interning for a guy who's very prominent in this community, and helping him and learning that. And then I'm putting out an album soon. So I do sing. I'm not the best, but evidently there's some technology to make you sound pretty good.
A little better. Okay, maybe it can help. Maybe AI can help you a little bit.
Maybe so. I'm not one of these guys going to hide it. If I write something, I've been putting it to AI for the editing, the grammar, spell checks, and all that, and stuff that would take me like a week to get around to, or if it's a book, might take somebody else a few months to edit. In like a half a second, it can edit an entire document, clean it up, paragraphs. It's the wave of the future, and the thoughts are mine, the story's mine, but making it more presentable and
sure, it all helps. It all helps for sure.
I'm so sorry the editors and the writers can lose their jobs over it, but it is technology. It is the wave of the future, and I do use it for editing things. So,
yeah, if you haven't seen Donald Trump's AI video of him rapping, I said to you, Bill, that is pretty funny stuff there. Amazing the stuff you can see now. Unreal.
Maybe look into this, the inappropriate use of these deep fakes and the voice prints and all that.
Oh, there's a lot there.
Putting your voice down on like 11 Labs and these other sites. I got an alert from one of them saying that there's now ways that you can provide that your voice and register it as yours. And this technology is so advanced, it will, if somebody deep fakes you and uses your voice from one of your shows to do something inappropriate, it literally will notify you and them, like stop using it and notify you of who's using it. It's that advanced right now.
Right. Cool deal. And you can see the post behind me for ATF Undercover, which, like I said, working on the finish the script and working with production companies to make it into a TV series. So I got that going on. I've got another show, which I'm going to be a host on. a guest on, right, which I was a consultant on. So that should be coming out hopefully in a few months. So a lot of cool projects in the works, Bill. You got a lot of good stuff going on, and it's just expanding and growing. So check out our content. We have political, true crime, and if anybody has any other interesting topics, reach out to Bill and me, and we'll talk about it. We'll do a deep dive. I mean, like this thing we did a show before on Karen Reed, the tailgate killer, right? Allegedly. So, there's interesting stuff out there. We talk about it.
Yeah, we like to give both sides of the story. I have my perspective, and he's got his, law enforcement. And again, just keep the comments civil. That's all we ask.
Yeah, that's important.
Other than that, join the conversation. Give us your tips, your comments. You'd like to be a guest. If you have a loved one who's wrongfully incarcerated, come on the show. I'll talk to you. And I'm pretty sure a lot of those cases, if Ignacio looks it over and believes in the situation, he'd probably come on too. I knew you told me that you would. So
yeah. It's interesting stuff. A lot of stuff to talk about, folks. And the thing is, for helping us, just get us to views. Hit subscribe, pass it around. Go to my channel too, Ignacio Esteban on YouTube. You can check, and we're all over Rumble too. Go check us out on Rumble. We get a ton of views in Rumble.
Blowing up, big views over there. We can say things over there a little more than we can here. Yeah. I want to give a shout out to some people that I admire in this, who got me really motivated, and I, to some degree, try to emulate. Sean Atwood, Matt Cox. They've been really good friends and advisors, and how to grow my channel and all that. So I want to shout those guys out. And
good shows. You've been there once. I've been there about 4 or 5 times. Yep. And then we had him on our show. Excellent shows we've done with him. Check it out. You haven't check out the show we did with Matt Cox here. Excellent.
I forgot my cooking show is back on the front burner again. So originally it was going to be an Italian food show. Then I had an issue with my heart and all that. And so I tried to do this keto thing, and I was going to do a keto show. Well, with a doctor, and that fell through because people around him doesn't want him working with somebody who's been to prison. So he loves me and understands my journey, and that, I've turned the corner, and I'm trying to help people now. And he's really hurt that people very close to him don't want him working with a convicted felon. Even though I have nonviolent crime and I've been out, a year and a half, doing everything I can to stay straight and narrow. And so that kind of fell apart for other reasons, and, people gossiping to him. But so I have another series of investors. One, Jim Traficant was an accused corrupt congressman in Ohio. Oh, yeah. Well, the circle of people around him now, all these years later, have been writing books about corruption in Ohio and different issues that they dealt with as a result of that and politics in Ohio. Now they're going to be guests on my show. And Rosemary, I won't say her last name on here. Rosemary had a cooking show, stopped it for various reasons. And we've agreed to team up and do an Italian food cooking show together. And so that's pretty much set in stone yesterday. The details are yet to be worked out. However, I said to her, we need to do part of it healthy eating, healthy Italian or keto, maybe one day a week, something like that. But we can put a show out almost every day, the way we have it.
It's also good. You said Italian, but how about Mediterranean? That's a diet I eat mostly. I do a Mediterranean diet. I don't eat red meat anymore. I do. I'll tell your viewers a little bit about. So you're talking about diet here, in case anybody's interested here. And I'm a very fit guy. If you don't know, I'm extremely fit guy. I work out, very muscular. I do a lot of cardio, and I've been law enforcement, so you have to stay fit. But I just kept those habits, and I enjoy it. And I played also. People don't know, I played tennis collegiately, #1 at my university. I played semi-pro tennis. Unfortunately, I was the wrong time in the '90s. You had some of the big names, Sampras and Agassi and Courier and Chang, and just too many good talents out there. But I also was a teaching pro before I went to law enforcement, right. And then I went into law enforcement. But
and you have a workout about it too.
Yeah, it's a good workout, and I run a lot too. And I used to do a lot of swimming when I used to live in Miami. I love the pool. We had a beautiful pool, and I swam a lot in the pool. I love swimming. Here's a good breakfast, and I'll give you a good lunch and dinner tip. And I kind of live by these diets, and it help you if you want to lose weight. Since we're talking about, we talk about everything. We're these kind of guys. We're like Renaissance guys, right, Bill? You mentioned something we can talk anything about.
I'm not easily offended, man. You just say what you got to say.
Yeah, I like low-fat Greek yogurt, 2 spoons in the morning. I put fresh fruit. I have fresh fruit every morning. Bill, I have blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries. Okay, I mix it with that. I put a little bit of honey in there. Okay, and then I add walnuts and almonds. Amazing. That is an ultimate superfood breakfast.
Did you say oatmeal was in that mix?
No, I don't put oatmeal. I put almonds and walnuts, right? Okay. I crush them up, put them in there. I have already the fruits, the blackberries, raspberries, and blueberries in there. fresh. I always have fresh fruit. I love fresh fruit. I put it in there, mix it with a little bit of honey, with a Greek yogurt, mix it all up. Fantastic. It's really good for you. I've been doing that, and it helps fight heart disease. Walnuts and almonds are great for fighting heart disease. So use that there. For lunch, I'm a big guy. I love eating fish. I don't eat red meat anymore. I like grilled chicken and fish, and I love eating salmon. I eat a lot of salmon. I love eating sushi. I love eating sushi a lot. I don't. So I use that. And for dinner, smaller portions. I eat my lunch bigger, and the dinner is always a smaller one. So I don't like going to bed with a heavy meal. That's not good for you either. So those are small things you can do. And try if you can't run, Bill, try get out there walking. Try burn some calories. Try do something to get your moving, because to be stagnant, it's not a good recipe. And I don't eat fried food either.
Sedentary lifestyle.
Oh, that's
when
horrible.
You're in prison, I was locked down for almost 4 years after my escape. All you can do is you're locked down 24/7. I mean, nonviolent crime, and they're treating me like I killed 12 officers or something. I'm like, really?
That's not good for you at all.
Started really falling apart under those conditions, and I'm trying. I'm still in recovery.
And I heard the diet there is atrocious.
Beyond her stinks. Walking to the chow hall, you can't eat it, and the options on the commissary are all junk food and ramen noodles, which are horrible for you and addictive, because if you stop eating, and then you start shaking because you haven't had your noodles. It's hard. It's really miserable.
I can't imagine that. That's all. And then on top of that, also avoid eating fried food. Some people love going to these places, eating a bucket of fried chicken.
Yeah,
that's horrible for you. Don't eat.
The best way, I think, is probably like a rotisserie where all the grease comes out of it, right?
Yeah. How about grilled? I love everything grilled. I love grilled chicken breasts. Go to places, get a nice grilled chicken breast, or do it yourself. I do everything myself here, and we have an air fryer that's like a ninja that does it all. And you grill it, and you get the nice flavor without the guilt or problems that come with it.
It would be good as I build this show with Rosemary and hopefully Mary. We maybe have you on as a guest to give your insights.
Sure.
I'm just on diet, on proper eating. From
somebody I've been doing it my years, and I mean I just turned 50. I'm 51, and everybody tells me they think you have a body of a 30-year-old for reason, because I work out so much and I take care of myself so much. I don't feel. I'll be honest. I feel 30 still. I still feel 30, and it's because I have a different life, and I don't smoke. I barely drink. I have to be honest with you, and I drink a lot of water. I at least drink 6-7 bottles a day, at least.
That's what I drink all the time. This is water. I drink it all the time, constantly.
You guys see me sipping water all the time here, right, Bill? I'm drinking water all the time. I'm always drinking water, and you have to make sure you get like you said, your steps in. You have to be active. Some people just don't know.
I have a Stairmaster and a treadmill in my living room, literally.
That's good.
Big, giant, professional ones. And you know how many times I've used them in the years since we've been in this place? I think here I got on them like 0 times, and maybe there's somebody else that occasionally, but and they're like right there collecting dust. I literally, I got them new used, right, and really good prices, because they're probably really a couple of $1,000 for the machines. I got them for like probably $400 each, right? Because I had an estate sale, and I basically took it all apart. I cleaned all the dust. I WD-40'd everything. Man, it was working great. Used it like 1 or 2 days, and I was like, okay, now I know I have it. I'm going to get in shape, and it's been sitting there.
like right now where I live, I have amazing running trails and hiking trails. So after this show, I'm going to go for a run, and I know I do about 4 or 5 miles, depending. And so I'm going to go for a hard run, and you feel it's nothing like after a tough run, you feel so good that you did it, and then you shower and you have a nice meal. Man, you sleep good at night, Bill. I'm telling you.
What that reminds me of when I was younger and I was in Fort Lauderdale and I was in the ocean almost every day or in the pool.
Oh,
you know how it is when you come out of the Atlantic in South Florida.
I love it.
And like you feel invigorated, refreshed, the salt water.
I love that.
Me too.
I love that.
Exactly this feeling you described, but for me it was doing the swimming.
So, I love swimming. I used to swim a lot in the pool too. I did a lot. I like Key Biscayne. For those who know South Florida, I'm near the lighthouse. Man, if you haven't been out there, go. Is a park? Is Bill Baggs Park, State Park? It's only like $5 to get in, I think. Park, but it is, I think, my opinion, the best family beach. But you want to go party, yeah, you go South Beach. But you want your family, you go there, you check it out. You go near the lighthouse. It's awesome.
Man, we were in Florida, a few months ago, Mary and I, and the whole Miami's changed. The whole A1A in Fort Lauderdale. Now it only goes in one direction. Then in front of like the Versace mansions, that green lane, everything going in one direction. I was like, I went to prison. There wasn't half as many buildings up. There was no green bicycle lanes. It was two-way traffic. The Colony Hotel with the famous shootout and Scarface and all that.
Yeah, sure.
But then there's so much violence there now. Every time you turn around, there's a big gun battle going on in South Beach now. That's like, what the heck?
Yeah, that's something else we can also do is we can talk about. And I have my book here, Miami's History of the Mafia, and I know we've talked about, but Versace with Cunanan. I remember that in the '90s. I think I was with Customs when that happened, and I still remember at the News Cafe. And again, we used to, like I said, at that time, South Beach just started, right?
Right.
And exactly. I remember I was going out partying there, and I was a young guy in my early 20s, and scenes there, News Cafe, that's where he was gunned down and killed, right? Versace's mansion was not too far from there.
He bought his newspaper, had some coffee there, and walked home right on the steps. Boom.
He was a homosexual serial killer.
Yep.
Gay serial killer. And he went after Versace. And he himself had killed so many. He's an interesting guy. We can do a show on one day on the history of Cunanan and how he went down when the Metro Day SWAT team went to get him in that boathouse, and he shot himself and killed himself.
I also want to continue researching these top echelon informants that later turned out to be corrupt, or maybe their handler was corrupt, and as a lesson, not to expose them, because a lot of them are public about it anyway, but just to really alert like their underlings, like, look, you're joining these groups, your leaders are generally working with law enforcement, undermining you and then informing on you, and then you'll get life and your leader will get a deal for 5 years or something. So why join these groups if all the leaders are working with the FBI or whoever else?
Yeah, you see a lot of that, and I made a link about that, about Sonny Barger. You see a lot of that about with the gangs and everything else, and that's the first one that goes. Doc Cavazos with the Mongols, right? He Operation Black Rain. He cooperates with law enforcement. All these guys end up cooperating, because who wants, in racketeering case? That's what destroyed the Italian mafia, Bill. You know that is racketeering cases, and nobody wants to do 20 or 30 years, right? So they're all flipping, right? Sammy the Bull on Gotti, right? Even Gotti, they said allegedly was cooperating. All these guys are cooperating.
It's crazy that we mentioned Whitey Bulger, the Winter Hill Gang in Chicago. Boston mob. Now, he was on the run. They found $800,000 in his apartment in Santa Monica, California. He was on the run for years, killed many people. Allegations that his handlers within the FBI was a childhood friend who was doing inappropriate things.
Yep.
So this case, as it was getting ready to go to trial, he pleads, gets life, gets murdered in prison, allegedly. Nicholas Fiorello, the guy we're just starting to work with from that area, extremely affluent real estate developer, developing the New England data corridor. He was literally in Cannes, France, and has pictures and audio with Whitey Bulger. So there's allegations from him that allegedly Whitey Bulger is still alive. Tom Madden from Transmedia just put out a blog/press release today about it. So I'm going to circle back either with you or do a story on my own about this and try to get that out today as well. But I will say that first here. I knew about this for a few days.
And that's what's alleged out there. But the government, of course, has said that he's dead.
Right. And so one of the positions my connection took was that the three guys that killed him were pardoned by Biden to keep this quiet, and they were kept in isolation the entire time since the murder. I said, well, from what I know about the way the prisons work, even in the federal prisons, if you murder another inmate or an officer, you're going to be in lockdown for quite some time, probably 10, 20 years. So it's not unheard of that if whoever killed Whitey Bulger, especially a prominent figure like that, would be in lockdown pending the resolution of the case. So when I looked it up, it seems like there was one killer, and he died, and they're not releasing cause of death a few months ago in prison.
Yeah.
So now for people, there's been rumors that Whitey's been spotted here and there. And he's not really dead. The same thing with Bruce Lee and Elvis. And
Elvis, yeah. There's always Elvis sightings, that's for sure.
Right.
So it could be Whitey Bulger and Mike and Jacko too. You know who Jacko is, right? Michael Jackson.
The Jackal, yeah. The Jackal.
No, Michael Jackson. Jacko, they
call him. Michael Jackson.
They're citing. All these guys have sightings. So like I said, folks, those alleged things are out there.
Right.
And of course, the government doesn't say that. The government says he's dead.
Nicholas Fiorello's tie-in is that these cases are all tied into widespread law enforcement corruption going back decades in New England, Boston area, and that he had so much dirt on the FBI and the agents that is the deal. They cut him to make it look like he was murdered in prison, allegedly. And he literally has sent me photographs of him and some audios, conversation that really does appear to be Whitey Bulger in Cannes, France, a few months ago.
Yes. So we'll see. Like I said, and remember, there's AI stuff out there too that can make anybody look anything. It could put us on planet Mars. Don't forget that.
And then some of the pictures are with a Catherine Krieg, the girlfriend, and he's still out there in Cannes with her. So
a lot of things going on, Bill. A lot of things. Good stuff, man. Another good show, guys. Please check us out on all our different platforms. Check us out, YouTube and Rumble or wherever else we're at. It's good stuff. And locally, if you're in Fort Wayne, Indiana, what channel can they check us out, Bill?
It's a public access channel, like a cable channel. It's just Google Steal a Spotlight TV. So it's Access TV is what it's called. And these stations, they allow people to produce shows all over the country. And so I'm trying to roll this out nationally because right now it's regionally, but they do keep it up on their social for a few years. And I then put them up over here. Generally, indefinitely. I'm behind on posting a few of the shows, but they get posted on my social as well.
And also radio now too, right? You're back on radio?
No. I had a fan / very famous podcaster out in California, Juliet Ramos. She has Broken Girl Unchained. Okay, she's a crime victim advocate. Her boyfriend is a Marine, and he's like me in my off time. The F word often comes up, so I said, "Hey, hold down the profanity," and because I'd have to edit it, and because I can't have it on my cable show, so it saves me a lot of editing. So he slipped up a few times, and then I tried to take the editing, the profanity out, and then I accidentally submitted the unedited show to the radio studio, and it went out over prime time with the F word in it. And from what I understand, the FCC cracked down pretty hard and told them, so they pulled my show.
Well, maybe it'll come back one day, but at least you're on the TV side.
Yeah, we're working to do some other things and try to step up the editing a lot more, because now we have a thing called Descript, which you can put the words you want edited out. Like this interview, I put it into Descript, which everybody sees advertised. It's an AI editing program, and we pay a subscription, and you put the words you want taken out. Like anytime there's a gap in our speaking, it'll close those gaps to make a quicker show. Anytime you or me say or it takes all those out. You can put the F word, the S word, all these profanity words that might have been spoken, remove all, and in a tenth of a second, it'll take it out of this entire video.
No, that's awesome. AI is good, but AI also has some bad stuff too. So we'll keep an eye on all that.
We're all over the map with this show, but bottom line, we're praying for Israel and thinking about Israel. We support Israel. We support law enforcement, and just the way it is, we support doing the right thing. We do not support anybody in law enforcement that might be corrupt.
No, and the end of Hamas once and for all.
That's right. Thank you for joining. See you on Facebook, see you on Rumble, see you on YouTube. Check out William Steele True Crime and subscribe, hit the notification bell. And Ignacio Esteban on YouTube is trying to grow his channel. All my fans, go over there, please. I don't know if this shout out means anything. You guys like what I do. Please, you see how you spell his name on the screen? Put it into YouTube and subscribe. Thank you,
guys.